Wake up at 4 a.m., cold shower, hit the gym, outwork everyone, sleep when you're dead. You have seen this 1,000 times. Your entire feed is built on one idea. Peace comes after. Rest is earned, not given. 91% of young workers have experienced a burnout or a mental health challenge. Not 50, not 70, 91. We're the most ambitious, most connected, most productive generation that's ever lived. And we are falling apart. Not because we are weak, because we got the order backwards. We placed peace at the end of a to-do list that never ends. We turned calm into a luxury. We made stillness something you deserve. Only after you've proven enough. And thousands of years ago, ancient wisdom said, if your brain is not pure and your heart is not stable, you cannot find peace. And without peace, there is no possibility of happiness. Not peace helps, not peace is nice to have. The Gita is absolute. No peace, no happiness. Structurally impossible. Doesn't matter what you achieve, how hard you push, how many finish lines you cross. Today, I'm going to show you why peace isn't the reward for getting your life together. It's the prerequisite for getting your life together. And I'm going to give you a system to build it like a muscle. Let me tell you about a deal you've probably made with yourself, maybe without even realizing it. It sounds like this. Once I finish this project, I'll relax. Once I hit this savings number, I'll slow down. Once I get to where I want to be, then I'll be happy. It sounds mature, responsible even, like delayed gratification. But it's not delayed gratification, it's a conditional relationship with your own well-being. You've basically told yourself, I don't deserve to feel good yet. And so you push through the tension in your shoulders at 2 p.m. that you have stopped even noticing, through the low-frequency anxiety that hums underneath everything you do, through Sunday night dread, through the moment someone asks, how are you? And you say, busy. Like it's an achievement. I know this deal. I lived inside it for years. Every milestone, I expected to find peace waiting at the top. The student visa, a milestone. My degree, the milestone. The corporate job, the milestone. Permanent residency, the thing that I told myself would make me feel settled. And every single time, the same restless mind was standing at the summit, arms crossed, unimpressed, saying, cool, what's next? The scenery changed, but the weather inside didn't. The lie is that peace is output, something produced by the right conditions. The truth, and it took me years to see this, is that peace is input. It's the state you bring to the conditions. The Gita says it clearly. An individual with a balanced mind and a controlled heart does better karma, makes better decisions than someone with an unstable mind and an uncontrolled heart. You don't find peace after success, you find success, the real kind, the kind that doesn't hollow you out, only after you find peace. This is what I call the peace inversion. Most people, and most of the internet, operate on this model. Grind, achieve, peace, happiness. Push hard enough, succeed enough, and eventually you'll earn the right to feel calm. The problem is that it doesn't work. And it's not just a philosophical problem. It's a neurological one. In 1971, psychologists Brickman and Campbell introduced the Hedonic Treadmill. They studied lottery winners and people who had suffered life-altering accidents. What they found was startling. After the initial emotional spike, almost everyone returned to roughly the same baseline happiness they had before the event. Win the lottery, euphoria, and then baseline. Lose the use of your legs, devastation, then remarkably, back near the baseline. Later, research refined the model, but the core insight held. External achievements don't permanently raise your happiness. The Gita saw this 3,000 years before psychology named it. Humans should stop chasing joys that have a beginning and an end. That's the Hedonic Treadmill in one sentence. Every external pleasure has a start date and an expiry date. The promotion fades. The honeymoon ends. The new city gets familiar. You adapt. You recalibrate. You chase the next thing. And the alternative, you experience joy within your inner selves without looking for it outside. Not dependent on conditions, not subject to adaptation, not on the treadmill. So the model inverts. Now you have peace, clean action, and finally you have sustainable happiness. And if you don't have peace as your starting point, you're in a cage. Not a cage someone built for you, a cage of your own reactivity. You can't enjoy your wins because you're already anxious about the next thing. You can't survive your own losses because you have no shock absorber. You're trapped in a narrow emotional band, flinching at everything, gripping at everything, controlled by everything. Peace is the key to that cage. It doesn't change what's outside the bars. It expands what's inside you, your capacity to hold both joy and suffering without being destroyed by either. Now, here's the part almost nobody explains properly, including most of the self-help internet. Peace doesn't make you happy. That's not its job. Peace changes how every emotion behaves. Think about it this way. Happiness without peace. It's a spike, intense for a moment, then gone. Like a sugar rush. You felt it, then it's over. And you're already looking for the next hit. But happiness, with peace underneath, it lasts. It's deeper. It's less fragile because it's not desperate, it's not clinging, it's resting on a foundation. Now flip it. Sadness or anger without peace, it's devastating. It lasts for days. You spiral, you lose sleep. You say things you regret, you can't shake it because there is no floor underneath. You just keep falling. But sadness or anger with peace as the baseline, you still feel it. Fully, you're not numb, but you recover faster. You process your emotions. You return to equilibrium sooner because there is a floor. There's something underneath the emotion that holds you. Peace is not the absence of emotion, it's the shock absorber underneath all of them. Without it, every bump in the road throws you off. With it, you can take the hit and keep moving. That's why the Gita doesn't say peace makes you happy. It says something more radical. Someone who doesn't get too excited after finding something they love and not too stressed after finding something unpleasant, that person is stable-minded. Not emotionless, stable. And there's a massive difference. And someone who can control or manage anger and desired expectations. That person can be happy in this life, not the next one, this one. Peace changes the math on every emotion you'll ever feel. Good ones last longer. Bad ones resolve faster. That's not philosophy, that's engineering. Your prefrontal cortex, the front part of your brain, handles the thing you probably consider you at your best. Planning, impulse control, emotional regulations, complex decisions. The pause before you react. Most evolved hardware you have. Also the most fragile. Research shows elevated cortisol leads to measurably lower decision quality. Not just feeling worse, deciding worse. And chronic stress, it physically reshapes the brain. Prefrontal dendrites shrink. The amygdala grows, gets more reactive. Plain language, chronic stress makes you worse at everything that matters. Focus, planning, self-control, and better at the thing that wrecks you. Impulsive reactivity. So when you tell yourself, I'll find peace after I succeed, what you're really saying is, I'll operate from a compromised brain until I've earned the right to think clearly. That's not discipline. That's self-sabotage. Now, here is the flip. When your nervous system is regulated, parasympathetic cortisol low, prefrontal cortex is fully online. sharper decisions, better emotional management, longer-term thinking, responding, not reacting. And flow states, peak performance, where you do your best work, they are characterized not by stress, but by parasympathetic activation despite high focus. Research published in Frontiers in Behavioral Neuroscience found that people in flow showed higher heart rate variability, a calm nervous system, even while deeply engaged. This is the neuroscience confirming what you already felt. The moments you acted from peace, you performed better. Every time. 3 of the world's oldest philosophical traditions arrived at the same conclusion independently. The Bhagavad Gita teaches karma yoga, action without attachment to outcome. You have a right to your work. You're not the rightful owner of the result. Think about what that demands. To act fully with skill and intention while releasing the result. That requires peace as the starting position. Because if your peace depends on the result, you'll grip work too tightly. You'll decide from fear. You'll cut corners from desperation. Without peace, you can't practice karma yoga. Stress is attachment to outcome. They're the same thing felt in the body. Now, let me address something important, because I know what some of you are thinking. Detachment. So you want me to not feel anything? Just go numb? No. And I need to be very clear about this. Detachment does not mean discarding your emotion. It's almost the opposite. Real detachment, karma yoga detachment, means you feel everything fully. You don't run from the sadness. You don't suppress the joy. You don't pretend you're above it. But you don't let the emotion become you. You're not your anger. You're not your grief. You're not your excitement. You're the awareness behind all of them. You observe the emotion. You honor it. You feel it moving through your body. And you sit with it. You're grateful, genuinely grateful that you have the ability to feel at all. And that's what it means to be a human. And when the emotion is ready to leave, you let it go. You don't chase it. You don't hold on to it. You don't replay it. You don't dwell on it. You don't build your identity around it. That is emotion processing. That is detachment, not numbness, presence. The Gita has a beautiful image for this. The lotus. A lotus grows in dirty, muddy water. Its roots are deep in the mud. It's connected to the mess, but the flower blooms above the surface, clean, untouched. That's you, connected to the world, feeling everything, but not stained by it. And I don't think that's cold. That's the most alive you can be. Seneca wrote an entire essay on peace of mind, arguing that tranquility isn't what you find after the battle, it's what you bring to the battle. You can't be courageous without calm. You can't think justly without peace. It's a prerequisite for virtue, not a consequence of it. Epictetus, born a slave, living with a permanent disability, built everything on one distinction: what is up to you and what is not. Tranquility emerges when you master this distinction, not when your circumstances improve. Now, let me give you a Buddhist angle to it. Upekkha, equanimity, the ability to meet each moment with balance, not because you don't care, because your peace doesn't depend on what happens. 3 traditions, 3 languages, thousands of years apart, same structural insight. Peace is not the destination. Peace is the vehicle. Alright, let me speak to the voice in your head. That's nice, bro, but I've got rent. I've got responsibilities. I can't just be peaceful. I hear you. I've been you. So let me reframe this in a language you already understand. You go to the gym, right? Or at the very least, you understand the concept. You don't build your body for the day you need it. You build it before, months before, years before. You train consistently, and over time, your body becomes capable of things it couldn't do before. You feel more confident, more capable, more free. And if you don't build it, the damage isn't just that you can't run fast today. It's cumulative. It compounds. An unfit body doesn't stay neutral. Over years, it becomes a liability. Joints decay, breathlessness, chronic illness, diabetes. The longer you wait, the worse it gets. And by the time you notice, you've already lost years. Your mind works exactly the same way. Building a peaceful mindset is building muscle for your brain. You don't do it once, you train consistently. Months, years, until the peaceful state becomes your default, not your exception. And if you don't, the damage compounds silently. Impaired decisions stacking on top of each other. Relationships eroding. Health deteriorating without you noticing. By the time you realize your mind has been running on stress for years, the debt is already deep. Building peace is preparation. It's the same as preparing for a war. Ideally, the war never comes, but if it does, and life always sends something, you have greater competence because you trained when it was quiet. The peace isn't for the crisis, the peace is before it. And to anyone watching this who comes from an immigrant family, I need to say this directly because I feel it in my bones. In our culture, rest is seen as softness. Peace is what you earn after your parents' sacrifice has been justified. And I want to challenge that with enormous respect. The pressure is real. The drive to prove that the sacrifice meant something, that's sacred. But operating from chronic stress doesn't honor the sacrifice. It wastes it. You make worse decisions, you damage your health. You miss the life happening right now while sprinting towards a finish line that keeps moving. The Gita says, doing your own karma, even with flaws, is better than doing someone else's karma perfectly. Every attempt includes a flaw or two. Like fire includes smoke. Carry it out from your nature, not from someone else's definition of enough. The most powerful thing you can do for your family, your legacy, and yourself is to show up clear-headed, to act from peace, not panic. Here's your practice. 7 days, 3 core components, 2 bonus anchors. Remember, you're building the muscle, rep by rep. Core component 1, the solitude window. Every morning, first 15 minutes after waking, no phone, no music, no podcast, no news. Just you and silence. Sit with water or tea. Look out the window. Walk on the grass. Be with your own thoughts, even if they're uncomfortable. This isn't meditation, it's input reduction. You're giving your nervous system 15 minutes to calibrate before the world demands everything from it. 15 minutes of solitude is where that path begins. Telling your brain, I set the tone today, not the algorithm. Or component 2, the breath anchor. During or after your solitude window, 5 minutes of slow, exhale, dominant breathing. The cyclic sigh from episode 4. So you can do double inhale through the nose and long exhale through the mouth. Or 4x6. 4-second inhale, 6-second exhale. This isn't a hack. It's physiological peace building. You're training your nervous system to default to calm. Core component 3, the peace audit. Every evening for a couple of minutes. End of each day, before bed, I want you to ask yourself 3 questions. When did I act from peace today? A calm decision, a moment I responded instead of reacted. A conversation where I held my center. When did I act from stress? A snap, a rushed choice, a reaction I regret. Question 3. What was the difference in outcome? This is not self-criticism. It's pattern recognition. Over 7 days, the pattern becomes undeniable. The moments you acted from peace produce better results, better relationships, a better feeling in your body. The moments you acted from stress, chaos, regret. Bonus anchor, nature. At least once this week, spend time in nature. Not as exercise, as observation. Notice something. Peace already exists in nature despite constant change. Seasons turn, rivers flood, fires burn, and nature returns to equilibrium every time. Compare emotions to weather seasons. Pleasant and unpleasant. Coming and going. Unpredictable. Nature doesn't fight the seasons. It moves with them. And it always comes back to balance. You're not learning peace from a book. You're remembering it from the world you come from. Another bonus anchor, connection. One last thing. This week, call someone you love. Not to ask for anything, not because you need something, just to say, you matter to me. Because peace isn't only internal, it's relational. Hearing the voice of someone who knows you, really knows you, grounds you in something the algorithm can never provide. Conserve your relationships through respecting and honoring the people who raised you and taught you. That's not ancient advice, that's tonight's phone call. That's it. 3 core components, 2 bonus anchors, nature plus connection. And if you're thinking, I don't have 22 minutes this week, that tells you everything. A system so overloaded that even 22 minutes of peace feels impossible is the exact problem this practice solves. I spent years believing that peace was something I'd earn. After the degree, after the career move, after I proved enough to the people who doubted me. And every time I climbed somewhere, the same restless mind was waiting at the top. Things changed. And I mean really changed when I stopped trying to arrive at peace and started departing from it. When I stopped treating stillness like a reward and started treating it like the foundation of every good decision, every clean action, every relationship I wanted to keep. Not free from responsibility, not free from ambition, not free from hard work, but free from the desperation that poisons all 3. And remember, peace doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means every emotion you feel, good and bad, moves through you instead of owning you. Joy lasts longer. Pain resolves faster. You stay grounded through both. Like a lotus in muddy water. Connected to the mess, floating in it, but blooming above it. That's what you're building, day by day, breath by breath. Not louder, not faster, steadier. If you like this video, and if I'm able to give you any value, I would appreciate a thumbs up, a like, and if you can subscribe, thank you.